Welcome back. This is the tutorial video for the Other Investments versus Your Policy module in the InsMark Essentials system. Hopefully you've been able to watch this video on the home page, the video tutorial for InsMark Essentials homepage, and then also hopefully you've been able to watch the tutorial video in the Illustration of Values module here and the tutorial video in the Permanent versus Term. These videos somewhat build on each other, and I think it'll be quicker and easier for you if you watch them sequentially. What we're going to do with the Other Investments versus Your Policy, I'm going to do something a little bit different than the previous videos. What I want to do is view the sample here that's in all of your InsMark Essentials systems. You got a couple different ones, but we're going to view this first one. So let's take a look at this presentation. We'll do a quick preview. Okay, so here it comes up, and you'll see here's the cover page and the preface and some graphics. I'm going to just jump to the numbers page. What we have here is a comparison between Index Universal Life, cash value life insurance, $85,000 a year, 20 pay against an equity account. And here you can see the equity account's 6.5% growth plus 2% additional yield from dividends, 25% dividend tax rate, 40% income tax rate, and so on. And so what I'm going to do is attempt to replicate this presentation and do it with you here in this video. So if you want, you can always, you can download, and I've already done this, but you can download these sample illustrations as PDFs, which is what I've done. And then let me show you what, I'll go ahead and exit out of this. Exit out of here. What I'm going to do is go in the Other Investments versus Your Policy module and click Create a Proposal. Okay, so here I am. And like with each of the four modules, the first section is it wants to know what's the policy data we're working with. And now normally you'd either have a link system that would automatically send in the premiums and cash values for the case you just ran automatically, or you would copy and paste from the carrier's illustration or from a WinFlex proposal in here where it says input new policy data. And we took a bunch of time explaining, slowly exactly how to do that in the Illustration of Values tutorial video. So I'm going to go a little faster this time. And also, instead of copying from a carrier proposal, I'm just going to copy and paste from this sample presentation that we saw on the home page, this one, and just for simplicity. So there's our values, and I know, we'll come down here, I know that we're going to input new policy data here. I know we're going to run this for 50 years. Name of the insured is Bill Jasper, male, age 46. It's not a survivorship. We'll just call this XYZ Life as the insurance company name. Long product company, or product, in this case, Index Universal Life. Could be really any cash value product. IUL. Initial death benefit, $2.5 million. 6.5% was the interest rate on this particular product. You can put the footnote in, say whatever you want. Then here's where we put our premiums and loans. So we know we have an $85,000 premium from years 1 through, I believe it was, year 20, apply. So that puts those in. And then I'm going to switch to loans, and we had a $290,000 loan from years 21 to 50. Okay, so let's apply, and we'll see those loans there. Great. And again, I'm just looking at this InsMark presentation to get the information. Now it's asking us for the cash values and death benefits. This is just a one cash value product. I'm going to come over here, bring up my PDF, and there's my cash value and death benefit for the first 30 years. So I'm going to put the cursor right there, hold the Alt key down and left click, and I'm going to drag and grab, and then I'm going to release, and there's an option to copy to the clipboard. I come back here, and I do Control V as in Victor, and you'll see that it enters all the values in there. I need the next 20 years starting in year 31. Go back and get my PDF, and there's my last 20 years. So again, I'll put the cursor right next to where I want it, hold the Alt key down, wait till it switches to that little box. Then I'm going to left click the mouse and drag, release, copy the clipboard, and click in the cell and Control V as in Victor. And that's all there is to it. Now I've got my cash values and my death benefits entered there. And I'm going to save this particular source illustration data. We'll call this Bill Jasper source illustration number 1. All right, fair enough. And save. Save and close, and it's saving it now in the policy data section. So it's stored that information. Now, the next thing it's going to ask is, do you want to include, right here, do you want to include a comparison of policy charges and fees between the cash value life insurance product, the Indexed Universal Life, and the equity fund, to kind of look at that. And this is one of the best parts about the InsMark Essentials system. So I'm going to click on this, and then I'm going to click Schedule. And then you can either, as we covered before, you can either put in the mortality and admin costs and it'll add them together to get your total. Or if you talk to your carrier and they actually show the total policy costs, they add them up for you, then you can just click that box and just enter in total. And I know that we had those on one of our InsMark presentations. We did the comparison of plan, there it is, comparison of plan costs. And there's our total policy costs. So I'm going to hold the Alt key down here and grab the first 30 years of the policy costs. And we'll Control V, and then we'll get the last 20 years of policy costs and we'll be done. So we go down here, total policy annual costs, Alt key, okay, copy, and click in there, Control V, and we're done. Okay, so great. That'll, by entering those policy costs for the Indexed Universal Life product, or whichever cash value product you're using, it lets you do some really interesting comparisons between asset management fees for investment accounts against the charges with cash value life insurance products. And you'll see those here in a minute. Okay, so we got a few other questions now to answer. Tax bracket was 40%. I could see, remember there. Okay, and then we're going to illustrate for 50 years. That's fine. This is an equity account. And it's interesting, you have a whole plethora of different side funds, alternative investments. I think InsMark does the best job of really anyone in the financial software industry on mirroring the actual taxation of different types of accounts. You'll see that here with this equity account. We showed a 6.5% growth rate, and then a management fee of 1% to the whoever's managing the money. We showed a 2, in addition to the 6%, we showed a 2% dividend plus the 6.5% growth. Dividend tax rate was 25%. Portion of capital gains, this long-term versus short-term, we showed, pretty generous here, we showed that 60% would be at the lower long-term capital gains taxation. And then we assumed a 25% capital gains tax rate because you've got capital gains federal and state. And portfolio turnover rate was 40%. And that's a key number that most software doesn't have to be able to accurately reflect the true taxation. Then here you can include a cover page if you want, fine. And then down here, you're ready to look at your different reports. So if I click on comparison of values and I do a quick preview, if I just want to look at that one report, then it'll bring that up. Okay, and so here you go. We have the $85,000 a year, $290 coming out, and look at that. The mutual fund or equity fund is completely depleted by year 80, and yet our cash value product continues to provide $290,000 a year tax-free retirement income to the client all the way out to age 50, and still has death benefits and a cash account. Pretty impressive stuff. Okay, so we'll exit out of here. Next thing I want to show you is the comparison of plan costs presentation. Here it comes up, and this is really powerful. So remember, we put in the Indexed Universal Life policy costs from years 1 through 30. There's your total cost, $341,000. But with the equity account, you have asset-based management fees plus taxes. So over 30 years, you'll see the equity account has a cost of $1,503,000, and yet the IUL's total costs were only $341,000. If we go out over the next, out to age 95, 50 years, even though the equity account depletes and is gone at age 80 or 35, it still had $1.6 million of total costs, whereas the policy, even out to age 95, the total costs were only $1 million. So that's a very powerful structural reason why cash value life insurance can outperform other investments over a long period of time. So we'll exit out of here. Last thing I'll show you is here, what are we going to call this? Well, we'll call this other investments presentation number 1. Okay, and then we'll create a workbook called Mr. Jasper, and all of our InsMark presentations will then get stored in there once I click Save and Close. So here you have your new workbook, Mr. Jasper. There's the first InsMark presentation, and now every time you do an InsMark presentation for Mr. Jasper, it will all be stored in this workbook and make it easy to find and reference. So that is the other investments versus your policy. I hope that's useful for you. We're going to use the same case when we go and look at the tutorial video in various financial alternatives. So that's the last training video, so watch that one next if you have the time to do it.